What is up, guys? My name of course is Carlo and welcome yet to another video. And yes, as you've seen in the title, I've made the switch from Premiere Pro to Final Cut. I want to explain a little bit about why I did it, but before I do, I definitely don't want you guys to panic. I'm still a Premiere Pro user in a massive way. I will never get rid of my Creative Cloud. I love it too much. And I'm a big After Effects user as well, as most of you guys know. When I started using Final Cut, when it was in Final Cut 7, and I used to really enjoy using it, I used to think it was an absolutely amazing program. But then as Final Cut Pro X came out, I took one look at the UI and I started thinking to myself, you know, this doesn't look like a professional program. I couldn't export none of my Final Cut 7 programs into the new version of Final Cut, and then that was the day where I drew the line and said, look, I need to make the switch to Premiere Pro. Now, most of the versions of Premiere Pro have been okay. I didn't think too much of the 10.3 series in Final Cut, and I said to myself, I'm not going to go back to Final Cut because I was enjoying too much using Premiere Pro, even though I still love using Premiere Pro. Yeah, there was nothing to me to go back on because all my plugins that I ever used, like the Magic Bullet Suite, so on and so on, Film Stroke, so on and so on, were all built perfectly into Premiere Pro, which was good for me. And I did love the integration. I still do love the integration between Premiere Pro and After Effects and Auditions. The workflow, but Final Cut 10.4 came out and I instantly fell in love with that program, and then Filmstro added their plugin, which now Filmstro works with Final Cut, which was like, wow, this is amazing. And all my Red Giant plugins work with it as well, which once again, wow, fantastic. So I've decided to, as you know, I'm working on a short film, and I have to do some reshoots of that short film because we moved. But I decided to edit that complete film in Final Cut, just to see where I can go with it and how far I can sort of take this program. The plugins work amazingly, like Magic Bullet Looks, Denoiser, which I use quite a lot, especially if I'm shooting professionally. I use Denoiser quite a lot, work amazing with the new versions of Final Cut. The 10.3 version, 10.3.3, Magic Bullet Suite never worked very well with it. I don't know if it was just me, but yeah, never worked very well. That plugin never worked very well with that version. But in 10.4, it seems like Apple have made some modifications to the I/O and the program itself, and it works amazingly now. Denoiser 3 has always been a bit of a pain. Has always struggled on my system, even though I've got a very high-end and very powerful system, which is obviously Hackintosh. I've never understood why, but in 10.4, Denoiser works amazing. I've got a scene that I'm working on at the moment, and I've been using a brand new color palette tool, which has been wanted in Final Cut for years. That was one of the reasons why I stayed in Premiere Pro. Because the most important professional features that needed in video editing weren't integrated into Final Cut, which always put me off. And now it's all integrated into Final Cut, and obviously the way how fast the program runs because of the architecture of the operating system, it is super fast. Now you do get a lot of people say, yeah, but Premiere Pro is fast as well, and it is. Premiere Pro runs like lightning on this system. And I do see a lot of videos on YouTube basically saying, why is Premiere Pro slower on my MacBook Pro, for instance, than Final Cut? And we all know that Final Cut is optimized for the MacBook, but the MacBooks and the MacBook Pros are not powerful systems. It's just that Final Cut's optimized for it. Because Premiere Pro is running slow on it, it's simply because your MacBook Pro can't run it properly. As simple as that, really. They're underpowered machines. this Hackintosh that I've got is fully spec'd out, as you know, and no Apple computer on the planet can match the power of this system. Even the new iMac Pro can never match the power of this system, especially for flexibility as well. I've seen a couple of videos back, I might be getting an iMac Pro, but then I looked at the cons and the good sides and the bad sides of getting the iMac Pro. I know if I buy the iMac Pro in 5 years, it's going to be underpowered again, and I can't upgrade it. The beauty with this Hackintosh Z820 is that I can upgrade the graphics, I can put more RAM in it, I can put more SSDs in it, I can put more hard drives in it, you know, and I can just keep going. I'm currently looking at the new GTX graphics cards that are coming out. I think it's the 2080. Correct me if I'm wrong in the description below. Might be getting one of them, even though I've got Quadro K6000. I might be looking at the GTX 2080 because they look flipping insane. So that might be coming to the channel. We'll just have to see how we go with that. But yeah, I've made the switch. I made the switch to Premiere Pro. To Final Cut. It's simply because the program itself, the editing experience is far more superior than Premiere Pro. I prefer it. I think it's a lot more snappier. On here, it runs buttery smooth. At the moment, I've got 4K Blackmagic Cinema footage shot in RAW, which is like butter. So not only that, it's the ProRes ecosystem that I work in, and Apple's best for that. Apple hardware is best for that. I work a lot in ProRes, and I work a lot with high bitrate film, which is needed. And now with this new version 10.4 of Final Cut, which supports HDR support and all that good stuff, it made sense for me to switch to it. Now I'm not switched to it trying to explain on like a permanent thing. I still use Premiere Pro, and I use Premiere Pro quite a lot. I will use Premiere Pro if I'm, creating a film that has got tons of visual effects in it. It's visual effects based, because obviously Premiere Pro and After Effects workflow is going to work better for me if I do it that way. But for editing short films that I've only got small amount of effects, even if it's just like bits of green screen and stuff like that, I will definitely be using Final Cut. Especially because my system is way optimized, way over optimized for this program, which is fantastic. Did it like buttery smooth. I dropped some Arri Alexa footage in this Arri Alexa footage 6.5K, and I'll do it now if you can see in the background. I've got some footage here, which is Arri Alexa. And I've just dropped that into the timeline, and it's just buttery smooth. It just runs like a dream, and that's what I like. Even if I drop a Denoiser a plugin into it, or if I go to Magic Bullet, put that back in, and even when I drop Denoiser, this thing cleans up and it still runs buttery smooth. I know that's sort of not the best example, but as you can see, I mean, it's just, this is Arri Alexa with Denoiser on it, and 6.5K full screen, and it's just running like a dream. And that's the sort of workflow that I want. Yes, I get that performance from Premiere Pro, but I've always liked Final Cut, and with the last revision, I did a video quite a few years ago when I'd done Final Cut 10.3, and I was instantly put off with it because I just didn't like the way it worked. It just looked too iMovie-ish. That was the one thing that gave me the hump as well. This is 4K playing with colour grading, everything on top of it. This is part of my short film. It's just buttery smooth. This is even without rendering it. There's no been rendering. It's set to highest quality. Yeah, so it's insane. It's so quick, and I'm loving the experience. I have to go with what's right for me, and what's best for me. But don't worry, there'll be still plenty of Premiere Pro videos coming in the future, and After Effects. I'm still using After Effects big time. I'll never stop using After Effects. That's my primary go-to visual effects app. I still use Premiere Pro all the time for big large-scale projects, but now I'm integrating Final Cut more and more into my workflow, especially where, and I'll do a video about this, the most important thing is the integration. Can I use Final Cut and use After Effects in conjunction with themselves? No, because they're not compatible. But I found a way, which I will do a video in, how to make your workflow a lot quicker to bounce between Final Cut and After Effects. So you can, if you're doing a lot of heavy effects in your comp, you can bounce between Final Cut and After Effects very simply with the same footage. So yeah, I mean, I would not have done this if I didn't have the system I've got. Doing this, like for instance, on a 2016 MacBook Pro with Touch Bar is just absolutely pointless, because I just think they're overrated machines. I hate them. I think they're underspec, they're underpowered, and that's why you get a lot of competition with why does Final Cut run quick on this machine and Premiere Pro doesn't? It's because Final Cut is optimized for the MacBook, but Premiere Pro isn't, and your machine simply can't handle Premiere Pro. It's as simple as that. This Hackintosh can handle Premiere Pro like butter, because obviously it's a million times more powerful and better than a 2016 MacBook Pro. It even probably will surpass the iMac Pro, simply by the fact that I can upgrade this, can't upgrade the iMac Pro, which is mental for that sort of money. So that's it. Once again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry about the long absence, 5 days away. I have been resting, and well deserved, but I had too much to do. And I've been doing too much, I've been pushing myself too hard. Currently about 7 o'clock in the morning, calling the video at the moment. So yeah, still a bit tired, but yeah, I wanted to get this video out to you, thought it was quite important. So yeah, as always, if you have enjoyed this video, a like rating would definitely be appreciated. And don't worry for you Premiere Pro users out there, I am still a Premiere Pro user. It's just that, like I just said, I've decided to integrate Final Cut more professionally into my filmmaking workflow. So as always guys, thanks for listening, and I'll definitely catch you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.